Briefly, before we started talking about the Europa League, we started speaking about Sarri's comments. Now, Sarri, in his post-game interview, was speaking about some other players and all this type of stuff, which he always does.
He spoke about Giroud, he spoke about a little bit about Kiev, I don't know why, sure, and about Napoli. No, it was about I can't remember, it was something along the lines of, they played well, they're very physical, but maybe not quite as they were 2 years ago. Something like that.
I mean, just something redundant, basically.
And then the other bit was about news.
There you go. Yeah, go on. Keep talking.
On latest news.
I know.
Just let you know. The other bit was about Napoli and about the possibility of facing Napoli.
And what's he saying there? Yeah. What? Go on, you do it. There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, no, I mean, it's a case of facing Napoli. I mean, the stuff that he said as usual.
He was happy with Giroud and how they played the game. Very happy about the hat trick. And then the bit about Napoli, I want to leave to the end. The bit about the Kiev that I said, he just said the problem in this moment of the season for Dinamo is that they are not in the top physical condition. Just going to stop it there. Obviously, you're going to have done research into it. You can't have paid that much attention to the Ukrainian league. Like,
there was a couple of years ago when people were just keeping tabs on Yarmolenko because that was the next big thing to come out of Ukraine. But then other than that, I don't really know.
There's one player, as I said, it's the one player I know in that Kiev team that you can maybe pick out and say, yeah, him. But he's nowhere at level right now where he's like where Yarmolenko was.
Reading these comments on Sarri and Napoli, I'm just going to be brutally honest and say how I feel. I find it a loser's mentality.
That's fair.
He sits there and goes, I prefer to find them in the final, obviously, because we were potentially drawing them in the quarters. First of all, because it means that we're in a final and I'm happy. Right, that's great, but you're happy to be in a final. That should be a very short-lived thing to be happy to be in a final. You then have to switch on and go, right, we're in a final here, I want to win it. He could just be poor English, but I think for me, I don't know. He follows it up by going, and secondly, because it means that Napoli are in a final and I'm happy.
I think...
Why? It really bothers me.
I don't know. The thing I'm thinking about this, and I could be wrong about this, correct me in the comments if I am, but whenever old managers go back to the clubs they managed, is it just me, or do you not really see... They talk about it a bit, but they don't really go... they're not...
They don't go into detail. They go, oh, it's great to be back.
Yeah.
I'm here to do a job. That is what the mentality is. Yeah. That's what the mentality should be.
If there's any talk about being happy or there's any talk about the team, it's after the game. It'll be done after the game in the press conference. But, so that's what I find odd about it. Not so much the talk of wanting to meet them in the final, that's whatever. It's the talk about being happy for Napoli if they get in the final. I don't understand that.
But then he follows up again by going, because of my relationship with the city and the people of Naples, for me it would be very difficult to play there. Right, again, this is where I say loser's mentality. This is the bone I always had to pick with Maurizio Sarri. He may be a really lovely bloke, but I'm sorry, can people stop falling in love with football, beautiful people, and focus on the football? This annoys me because you sit here and you see this guy going, oh, it'll be really difficult to play in Naples. I don't know if I can do it because of my relationship with the people. Fuck off. You're paid to go and win this game. You are here to go and give your all. If you're saying it's going to be difficult because of X, Y, and Z, and you can't handle it, then I'm sorry, you're in the wrong job.
No. Yeah.
This is where you know, irrespective of relationships, you need to realise that you have to balance it out. Yes, it'll be difficult to go and play in Naples. You don't openly go and admit that in a press conference. If you do, you say, oh, it'll be tough, but I'm here to do a job. You follow it up with to strengthen your position. Leaving yourself open to stuff like that is just the reason why Maurizio Sarri is getting targeted so much by the press. Yeah. Because of stuff like that. Why would you say that? Seriously.
I think the point we're going to get onto, I think that it's another, and you mentioned the language barrier possibility thing. I think there's too many instances at the minute where the comments that he makes in press conferences, either before or after a game, they seem to either contradict other comments he's made, or they seem to leave him really open to criticism to a point, but just to questioning as to why he's made those comments.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go back to the last league game against Wolves, some of the comments he made, one, he said that Wolves weren't defensively solid. Anyone that watched that game, you don't have to be You don't have to have a lot of knowledge of football. You don't have to have a lot of knowledge of how to play a certain style of football. Anyone in that stadium could see that Wolves set up perfectly in terms of defensively.
I think what he's saying is it's basically he's sat there saying, "Oh, they weren't playing football," which I'm sorry again is bullshit. Football is for me, right? It's very objective when people talk about what beautiful football is. It's very objective for me, and I've said this since day one. Since Sarri was hired, you can go all the way back to all those videos. I do not care if it comes off someone's arse. I want to win a game. That's what I'm going with. A great result, a beautiful game of football for me, when we scored with Hazard and that one opportunity against Manchester United, but we were solid, we were underdogs, we fought hard. Barcelona in 2012, that's a beautiful game of football for me. Ramiro scored a great goal, yes, and it was great to watch. But at the same time, we gave a dog
Go and watch the highlights against that. Christ alive. I rewatched them a few months ago, and it's you kind of forget how under the cosh we were, how much we were.
But this is it, and I mean, for
you
me,
had Drogba in our box being a defender, for Christ's sake.
It's very, very, very objective, and I think what he's basically saying is they weren't set up to play football and be open and expansive. And
there's more than one way to play
random people. There is more than one way to play football, and as much as now people are much more keen on seeing a very tough attacking performance and very open style of football.
I think that Wolves do that. If you actually watch them on a game-to-game basis, they do that in general. It's when you come up. It's different if you're playing the like Sam Allardyce does, where it's that every single week.
Yeah.
But they come up to play football, and it's against certain teams that they do that, and it's sort of top 6 teams, and it's worked.
Yeah, well,
they've gained so many points.
They're there to get the results, and next season they're going to be in Europe.
Yeah. A year after getting promoted.
I'm sorry. Like, look, there's more than one way of playing football, but I mean, this is where we're going to talk about Sarri's comments again. Riblet played 90 minutes last night.
Yes.
Or not last. Sorry, when you watched this 2 nights ago, because we're recording this on Friday night.
In the Europa League.
In the Europa, he played 90 minutes, and he goes last week. He's not ready for 90 minutes.
Few days. This was after. Was this after the Kiev game or was this after the Wolves game?
Wolves, I believe.
This is a few days after saying that Loftus-Cheek would not be ready for 90 minutes for 2 to 3 weeks, and then going back because I've talked about this a little bit. I think I talked about it in the live stream the other day before the Kiev game. Before that Kiev game, the home leg, we got told there are no injury concerns. If someone's struggling from a recurring back injury, that's an injury concern. It's literally got the same. It's got the same word.
Same narrative.
But exactly. So somewhere communication is going completely wrong. Somewhere, and I don't know where that is.
And again, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is in the England squad, which is
silly if he's not fit.
Exactly. But I mean, to be honest, I think there is a massive. I'm putting it down to language. I really am. His English isn't awful. It's not. But for the same token, I don't think maybe it's not to the standard which people are expecting. But look, I mean, he played 90 minutes on Thursday. Does that mean he'll probably play against Everton? I sincerely doubt it. Obviously, we'll get into that in our lineup predictions. But the one thing I do want to say before people decide to rip us apart, saying we're Sarri out and all this blah blah blah. I'm sat on the fence. I want to see this. I want to see what this guy does this year. I know he's here to implement a philosophy. I want to see what happens next year. I want to see how he develops and how he deals with the issues around the club, i.e. the transfer ban and implementing youth players and all this type of stuff. I'm interested to see that because that is where you can really test Sarri as a manager. This is going to be a real test, and this is where I'm looking at this guy. He's here to implement philosophy. He's got the youth players. These are players which want to play for Chelsea. Look, these are players. There's the youth academy. Go use them. Tell us what philosophy you want to implement. I want to see what happens. So look, I do think he needs to be a lot more closed off sometimes because he does leave himself open to massive criticism, and I think that this is something that definitely needs to be looked at from a PR perspective and from a marketing perspective by the press officers at Chelsea because this is an issue. This is as well as their media centre and retweeting potential rumours to do with Chelsea, which still don't make any sense. But look, this is something which we need to look at, and for me, that's what it comes down to.